Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cody the Coin Raptor coming at you with another Bitcoin video. So, Bitcoin has been very volatile over the past couple of days, just like I talked about in my last video. We saw it sell off immediately going into Friday, and then we saw a nice bounce back, which I think was one of the possibilities that we saw from last week's huge options expiry. But it went down to about 108, bounced off that level, and came up to about 114. So we had a pretty large swing in the Bitcoin price. Now, as a reminder, it needs to come above this 116 level. Once it does and it closes above this level, then this super trend will flip to a buy, and that will be even further bullish for Bitcoin. But this video, I want to talk about what's going on in Bitcoin, specifically October, and how October is setting up for a huge move that I think could actually push us above a new all-time high. Now, Bitcoin normally has a very, very, very difficult September. So the average is minus 3%. The median is minus 3% for September for Bitcoin. And it's kind of amazing, actually, that we're sitting here at a plus 4% gain for the month. And I'm recording this on the 30th of September. I do think that we're going to close out the month in a green fashion. And you can take a look at this. The historical data right now does not lie when it comes to Bitcoin. If you have a green September, then you are also going to have a green October as well. For those of you that know, October is one of the strongest months for Bitcoin. You go ahead and take a look at the average gain for this is about 20%, 21%, and the median is 21%. So we're talking about a 20%, maybe even more potential for Bitcoin over October. So every time we've had a green September, we've also had a very nice green October as well. This is something that I think that's going to wind up happening this year following Bitcoin seasonality. And if it doesn't happen, I think that we're going to have that coiled spring approach where Bitcoin continues to build up momentum and energy, and then eventually it will actually come out again, possibly during November. So this quarter, call it late Q3, early Q4, is generally one of the strongest times of year for Bitcoin. So that's one of the things we're looking at here. I do think that we're going to wind up getting a pretty nasty move in October. If we take a look at our liquidation levels here, we can see in regards to Bitcoin that we have a rather large liquidation. If Bitcoin goes above 126, you're looking at about 11 billion or so of shorts that would get completely liquidated if Bitcoin could just push to a new all-time high. It tends to be more in this region. It's grouped together at about, call it 118, 119, a very large amount of shorts are just kind of chilling out at that level. And if Bitcoin can actually push above that level, which I think is very possible, then we could see a new all-time high very, very easily, I think. Taking a look at our Bitcoin metrics, taking a look at the options expiry for this Friday, October 3rd, we have a pretty medium-sized notional value here of about $3 billion or so of options contracts set to expire. Max pain price sitting at right now, basically where Bitcoin is right now, 114,000, and that would kind of lead us to believe that you're probably going to wind up getting some sideways action towards this week, and maybe a little bit of craziness on Thursday or Friday, but not that much. I think we're probably not going to wind up seeing a huge spike in volatility this week because the notional value here is only $3 billion compared to what we had last week. It's kind of a drop in the bucket. Now, that being said, we're looking at Bitcoin and the adoption, and the Bitcoin adoption continues, especially when it comes to corporations. MicroStrategy continues to buy additional Bitcoin as well. You can see here they added about 1,000 Bitcoin over the last, day or so yesterday, and we're starting to see a little bit of the downside of that. We have the FBTC, they're actually taking some out, Grayscale taking some out as well, and we've seen kind of a bunch of the Bitcoin in these holding companies get taken off the market. because quite frankly, investors right now, they're not putting their money into crypto. They're putting it into AI stocks. Taking a look at the so value Bitcoin spot ETF tracker here, we can see that we had a pretty red week last week. We had the total weekly net flows of about minus 902 million dollars. So about $1 billion, or close to $1 billion, leaving IBIT and FBTC and those other spot ETFs. But I don't want that to take away from the fact that if you take a look at the monthly, it's still been a very strong month for September. I mean, we're talking about inflows of about $3 billion or so. And especially with October having the reputation that it does, this right here could be another major driving factor in how we could see a new all-time high during October. Additionally, again, we talked about strategy buying. Bitcoin, we have another buy here. They stacked 7,000 Bitcoin during this month. That's also huge. We take a look at the Bitcoin exchange reserve, the number of Bitcoin on exchanges, and that continues to plummet and go lower and lower and lower and lower. Backing this out, taking a look at it 1 year, you can see here that this is setting up for a very nice supply shock, a very nice supply crunch as Bitcoin leaves exchanges. Now, just take a look at this chart. You're just seeing Bitcoin get completely taken off the exchanges, and you have whales and corporations buying this Bitcoin. Okay, it's going to be honestly just a matter of time before we see the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges go below that $2 million coin mark. And when it starts to get even more and more difficult to purchase and there's not as much available, you're going to wind up seeing a big increase in the corresponding price. So in regards to Bitcoin right now, there's a lot to be bullish about. And the fact that we've survived this September, which historically is very bad for Bitcoin, I think is actually very bullish. Now, as a reminder, keep an eye on that 116 region. Okay, if this flips, I'm going to make a whole video about it. But if this flips, it means bigger things are coming. And if you guys are interested in seeing that, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you like, and make sure you follow me on X as well. I had to get a new X account because my last one I had some issues. So please check the description below. Please subscribe. Leave a comment below if you guys want me to talk about any specific kind of Bitcoin news. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.